you became musical stars. And did you happen upon it, Paul or Bob or Susan?
Well, I'll go first.
I was
hopefully, and I really
he needs a mic. Somebody hand him back.
Hello? Oh, okay.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, me and Bob both were playing Little League and all that kind of stuff, but as I progressed in my young life, I was way into baseball. Baseball was my thing, and I honestly thought that I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. And, but that didn't happen because this happened. So, yeah, so that's what I was going to do, and didn't get there.
Bob, let me ask you, did your parents give you a resistance about doing music for a living, or were they thinking that, you know, this is going to work?
They got involved while we were in high school. Me and Bill started when we were 7 and 8 with the guitar, so by the time high school came, we were pretty much veterans at performing even. So my dad got wind that, wow, this is good. We'd been playing at a local club, you know, because when the Beatles came out, it finally gave us all enough material to work. So we got to the clubs, and it was great timing. It was great timing to do that. It was Susan, my sister wants to say something, and being the youngest of 7, this is a rare opportunity for everyone to listen.
Okay. Oh, look, a younger just raised his wee little hand. I was born into a sect, and that's how I got there.
Oh, okay. Has anyone told you what's been going on?
Yeah, no, I'm fully up to speed now.
Okay, awesome.
I'm a leader.
Awesome.
Y'all see me after the show.
I want to ask the Cowsills something, because I grew up with your music, and as well as all the other bands from that period, but because you're a family band with the same last name, did you ever get confused, and especially you have Indian Lake, and the Osmonds have Down by the Lazy River. Did you ever get mixed up by the public with that group?
Once in a while, going through airports, but specifically, when I was 21, I had a blue convertible GTO, maybe it was 20. And back then in LA, you could really, you know, the speedometer said 150, so it was 3 a.m., I took it up to 120, and then got pulled over. And so I get pulled over, and the guy wants my ID. I give him my ID. He goes, oh, because we had just had hair, so I was real famous at the time.
You don't have hair any longer?
Hey, we don't have to have this sidebar, okay? All right, so now I'm distracted and I'm old. You don't do that to old people. All right, anyway.
We're all boxers up here.
Yeah.
I can't remember your thoughts.
Okay, so here we go. So I get pulled over, and he looks and he goes, oh, wow, that's awesome that it's you. Look, I'll write you up for 70 miles an hour. It was during the 55 mile an hour. I'll write you up for that, but man, slow down. And I thought, man, this is awesome. You know, fame is working for me. So I go, thanks, officer. I go, he gives me the ticket for 70 and not 120, which was going to cause some trouble. And just as I get in my car, just as I'm getting in and he's getting in, he yells back, hey, I really love you on the Andy Williams show. True story. True.
I want to ask the guys from Iron Butterfly, because I don't know if I've ever seen a band that has the changes in members and the break up and get back together and reform and tour and all that more than you guys. So there were a lot of times where you weren't Iron Butterfly, and there were a lot of jobs that you may have had. Eric or anybody wants to answer. I want to know what could have happened, or what maybe did happen to you in the middle of the band taking a break.
Well, as I told you earlier, leaving Blues Image, which was opening for Iron Butterfly at the time, you know, I said, I've done enough. I don't want to do this anymore. Didn't like the music or anything else. And I got a job at the coroner's office, believe it or not. Picking up, my job was picking up dead bodies and bringing them into the morgue and assisting the physicians in opening them up and sewing them back up.
Well, see, if you had a good PR agent, he might say you were opening for the dead.
That's what you did. He'll be here all week.
Try the veal. I'm here all week. I have nowhere else to go. I could have jumped off in Cuba, but I took a pass. What about any other members of the band? Pass the mic down.
Yeah, I actually have a follow-up story to this one. I grew up in Germany, right? And I got rudely reminded right now, this photographer guy in front of me wears a T-shirt called, with the name The Avengers, right? That was the name of my very first band, 1968. 50 years ago, so not only in Inagata La Vida 50 years, but my musical career as well. So what happened, I was in Germany just playing with the band, and the song came out, and we decided to play the song, right? And I Googled the band, or I actually didn't Google those days. I found out from other guys the the past of Doug Engel, the original keyboard player, singer, right? His father was a church musician, so was mine. So I understood his style of playing. And as a young kid, I was like 16 those days, and I always dreamed of, I want to play in that band. I want to play this kind of music, right? So I fulfilled my dream. That's one good thing. But I want to top his story quickly, because my dad was a church musician, and so I played in church, and during my student days, I was a hearse car driver.
Ah.
Very interesting stories, and since I was an organ player as well, because I tried to follow my dad's footsteps, I played funerals, I played weddings, I played services, and the one specific time I had to pick up somebody. I was a cab driver / hearse car driver, and it was the middle of the night. I picked up somebody from the bar, and he was completely drunk, and I dropped him off at his house, and his wife said, "Thank you very much." I keep this story as short as I can. About an hour later, I got a call. I have to change to the black car, which means I have to change to the hearse. 1:30 in the morning. And I thought, nobody dies at 1:30 in the morning. What the heck, you know? Anyway, I changed cars, drove back to the house. Fair enough, the guy was dead.
The same guy?
So he died at his house, right after I dropped him off.
Wow.
Anyway, so I put him in the coffin, and his wife says, "So you're doing this job too?" I said, "Yeah." Okay. Ultimately, we drove him to the cemetery. They have to stay there for 3 days, and then the funeral happened 3 days later. Funny enough, I was driving a cab again that very same day. It gets better. So I'm getting a call, "Can you pick up a 5-piece family and drive them to the cemetery?" So I show up, the guy's wife is losing it now. She says, "Wait a minute, I've never knew you before. Now I've seen you 3 times in 4 days, doing 3 different things." I said, "Honey, I got one more surprise for you." I drove him to the cemetery. I got the money from them. I locked the doors behind him, and I walked towards the chapel. And the lady turned around and said, "Why are you following us?" "Well, I'm playing the organ at the funeral."
Were you tempted to do that little riff from the beginning of Inagata Davida? Did you work that in somehow into the...
Not those days, but later funerals.
Later funerals, okay. And I hope you kept the meter running through all those jobs to make a little extra money. That was awesome. Thank you very much. I want to check in with the association because you guys have had so many amazing hits that it's hard to imagine anyone's life without you guys on the stage in the recording studio singing those amazing harmonies, those beautiful songs, and they're so different. Cherish is so different than Along Comes Mary. Talk to us about your other opportunities and where you were headed before you became professionals.
Where do we begin?
Where do we begin?
6 guys from 6 different states, and we all met in LA and at the Troubadour and various places. But I mean, Jules was in the Navy, I was in the Army. There was a lot of guys were doing club works. Dell was in a folk group.
Bruce was in jail. Again.
Well, I was going to school to be a CPA.
Okay.
And, yeah, my mom wanted me to go in business with that, but my brother and I started singing, and within a couple of months we had a manager. We were working the Sunset Strip. I mean, each guy's got a story like that. So pass it on.
Pass it back.
Hey, hi.
Double mics.
This is the left ear, this is the right ear. Here, take this. What am I talking about, Jim? Oh, that was the Sunset Strip. Yeah. Well, actually, we, speaking of the Troubadour, all of us hung out at the Troubadour, which is down on somewhere in LA. It was the basic folk music club of the time. And we were doing Hootenannies, which is open mic night. And somebody said, "Hey, let's form a band." Actually, Doug Weston, who ran it, saw it and decided to form a band. We formed a band with 13 people in it, and it was designed to kick the Christie Minstrels' butts. That's what the
we've
deal
all wanted
was.
to do that.
That's it. But we decided to play electric music, and we had the first official folk rock band there was. We were billed as that. And so we had a guy come in. They wanted to get us to be more professional. So they had an arranger come in for us. And he brought the charts in. We were going to do it. We were excited. He had done movies. And he started off, and the song went, "We are told very proudly and often to lift up our hearts." He said, "No, we don't want to do that." And so the arranger got pissed off and took off. And we had a long meeting, and the band's name was The Men. It broke up. That very hour after we broke up, we started the association. That was it. The rest of us said, "Let's do this. We put the band together." That's how it started.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question on the Flower Power Cruise. Along comes Mary, Mary in quotes. Can you tell us about that? Is there anything going on there?
If you have to ask, you're never going to know.
Is that why Bruce went to jail?
That's like Bruce was in jail.
That's why Bruce was in jail. All right. Still wearing the uniform, apparently.
Actually, that was written by a friend of ours, Tannen Allman, who's a jazz piano player who's passed away a few years ago. But as I understand it, and I was the only one who knew the lyrics because I sang the lead. In fact, one time I had a motorcycle accident, and the day before going on the road, and I wound up in the hospital. And the next day they called me and said, "Can you tell us the words to Along Comes Mary so Jules can sing it?" Yeah. But actually, what it is, it's a social protest. It's not saying, "Hey, let's all go out and smoke pot." It's saying, "Hey, let's have an even playing field. Pills and booze are legal and marijuana is illegal." That's kind of basically where it's coming from. But most people think it's about milk.
All right. Anybody else want to comment over in the association? Del? Del has his own mic.
Hi, I'm Del. Give him a big aloha! Thank you, mahalo. I actually joined the band in kind of an odd way. I wanted to be first a professional pool player. And I was getting really good at it, but I thought, well, this is kind of boring, though. You got to sit down for a while before your turn comes up. So I decided later, a couple years later, I wanted to become a commercial artist, which was great because it was really rewarding, and I was really good at art, but there weren't many people around that I could communicate with. And then finally I got into show business, fortunately in a group called the New Society. And we were doing concerts all over the United States, and all of a sudden, I got to a place called Grove City, Pennsylvania with our group, and I saw a sign, all right, I saw a sign, a poster that said, "The Association," and in really small letters, it said, "The New Society." Well, I was really upset. And so we did the show that night, and it was the first time I ever saw my brother Larry on that same stage, and he was with the association at the time. He was just starting, and so I shared the same professional stage with my brother Larry and my band, and it was a terrific experience with the association because I thought their music was incredible, and little did I know that years later I'd be singing in the band, and it's been a nice ride for me, and we're still doing it, and I hope you enjoy our show tonight.
Awesome. Well, we certainly will. You guys are amazing, and we're happy that you're here with us on the Flower Power Cruise. I want to switch over to the grassroots, Joe and Dusty and Mark and Larry. Roots. Boy, what a lineup of hits you guys have had over the years, and you sing them in I'd Wait a Million Years and Midnight Confessions and all those fantastic songs. Tell us.
We do those?
I hope you're going to do them tonight. Can you do some Christy Minstrels tunes?
Love them.
All right, awesome. Well, Dusty, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you played with the Righteous Brothers, but rather than if you hadn't gotten into music, was there anything that you were looking or being steered toward?
Well, actually, I started playing guitar when I was 8 years old. My dad was a honky-tonk guitarist in Texas. Used to play the square dances. Texas, hook 'em horns. And so he introduced me to the guitar, and I studied it, and I worked really hard and got okay at it. But when I got to be teenage years, he said, "You shouldn't do this." He said, "You should go into civil engineering or architecture or whatever." So, and my mom was very supportive of me. She said, "You go do it. You follow your dream and you go do it." Anyway, so I was fighting mom and dad both, right? So I was going to be an architect and a civil engineer and all of that, right? So, yeah, I would have made a lot more money, yeah.
We don't usually invite them on the Flower Power cruise, though.
Yeah, the architect's question and answer. Yeah, so I stuck with my heart, and I moved to LA, and I started grinding up the music business and working with a bunch of different people and doing jingles and working really hard. And my dad told me, you know, I'm not behind what you're doing, but, you know, if you ever play the Grand Ole Opry, then you've made it, because he's a Texas honky-tonk guitar player. After he died, I played the Grand Ole Opry. So, he missed it, or he didn't miss it.
He saw it.
He saw it. That was a fun story. Anyway, so I was going to be an architect, but now I'm on a ship. So that's the short story.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Summed it up.
Thanks, Dusty. Pass the mic back down. Let's talk to Joe. Joe Dougherty, tell us a little bit about your early days.
I built a thriving gynecology business
really?
up until I quit when I was 45 and met Dusty and Mark. That was after I retired from the Air Force as a full colonel. No, actually, I've always been a musician. Played drum. My father was a drummer, actually. Both my older brothers played drums, and that's basically what I've done my whole life.
And there were obviously lean years, the beginning of the years you guys
oh
basically
yeah,
played
yeah, for all of us.
For sodas
sure.
and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Basically,
we
for
played
everybody.
Clubs and stuff. And
yeah. Let's ask Larry. Larry Nelson?
Well, I was gonna be a high school band director, and I had a job waiting for me, and I didn't want to do that. But I want to rewind. I don't have as good of a Hearst story as that, but I do have a delivery story. One of the early adopters of pizza delivery was a shop in Fullerton, California called Pizza Man. Oh yeah. Yeah, and yeah. And I was delivering. Anyway, yeah, in a 56 Chevy wagon. That was a chick magnet. And and the interesting part about this is we never sold that many pizzas from this Pizza Man place. We would make a few, and I'd deliver a few. A couple people might pick up a couple. But surly characters would kind of come and go from this pizza delivery place. And you know, because I'm not that bright, 6 months into it, I'm like, oh, this isn't really a pizza delivery place, is it? It's just, but there is a rock and roll component to it, because Pizza Man was about 600 feet up the street from the original Fender guitar factory in Fullerton, California. So there is a component that ties it all together, because, you know, except I'm a keyboard player. Okay, well, there you go. Anyway, so Pizza Man didn't deliver very much, and the Fender Guitar Factory was right there. Mark?
All right. Nice. Thanks, Larry. Mark Dawson, everybody. Mark?
Hi, everybody. So, like a lot of guys in high school, I was a freshman in high school, and got a guitar at a garage sale or something, or a neighbor gave it to me. And, I knew like 3 chords, but I would hang around with all the cool musicians in high school. I got anybody, like, he's a cool drummer, he's a cool guitar player, like, I can really sing. So I was the guy who hung around with them. So naturally, I thought, in my life, there's only one thing I can really be: a pharmacist. I mean, these are musicians, they're going to need me. So through high school, I just sort of thought, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a farmer. It's going to work out really cool. Well, one thing led to another, and some guy in a band broke his arm, and some guy called me and said, and this is absolute fact, he said, hey, Mark, we got this band that we're doing, and this guy, by the way, was the ultimate band nerd, the school band. He played the trombone. Back then, it really wasn't cool to play a trombone. This is pre-Chicago days even. So he says, yeah, man, listen, we're wondering if you would be interested in joining the band because John broke his arm and he can't play any shows. And I said, well, I'm not really, good on guitar. Yeah, we know that. But you're really popular with everybody, and we could use you. So I said, yeah, I'll make you a deal. I'll join your band, and if you'll have John with the broken arm teach me to play guitar. And so we actually struck this deal. We'd go to band practice. I'd go an hour early. John would show me chords and little riffs and stuff, and then I'd go sing with the band. And I just kind of got hooked. And one thing led to another. Many years later, toward the end of the 70s, I happened to have the honor of meeting Rob Grill and doing shows with the Grassroots. And we struck up a little friendship that kind of, all these years later, Rob actually said to me, I want you to be the guy to step in my shoes. And we all miss him and love him. And that's kind of that's my journey.
It's very nice.
That's an honor.
Well, thank you for stepping up for Rob. So when you were in your pharmacological career, there were no openings at Pizza Man?
Let's just say we had a business relationship with Pizza Man. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's pass the mic down to the Iron Butterfly again, a couple of guys that we didn't get a chance to say hello to, and tell us a little bit about your career. And
I got nothing compared to these guys. I was a business major at UC Berkeley, started playing bass, took a left turn, and never looked back.
Well, awesome.
Oh yeah.
Ray?
Hi there, I'm Ray. You might hear by my accent, I'm Oklahoma. I'm the drummer with Iron Butterfly. I replaced, Ron Bushy, the original drummer, who unfortunately is in bad health, and I was asked, which was fantastic. My background is pretty much when I saw Ringo, that was it. It kind of had to happen. So and then all around the UK, I was playing all around Scotland, and I moved to London, and moved over here to the US about 12, 13 years ago, and it's been it's a great country. I love America, and it's a great country. I'm still drumming, and I believe as well, actually, I was asked if I could say happy birthday to George.
George Harrison today, 75.
George?
Would have been.
60, I think he's 60 today or something like that. That's
75,
from Roy.
he'd be 75.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you. And we hope that we see you here tomorrow when we're playing in here, I think, tomorrow evening sometime. Thanks.
You guys are playing in this room tomorrow night? Okay, awesome. Okay. 45 minutes here tomorrow night. Yeah. They'll take a break and come back and finish it.
Okay. I have another short story.
Sure.
Joe, were you actually in the military? No. Oh, okay. Well, are there any vets here by any chance? Hey, thank you guys
vets.
for your service.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for
Come on, let's
all
hear
you
for the
do.
vets here. So, while I was still living in Germany, I used to play for the US military, right? All the big Air Force bases all over Europe. And as far as I understood you guys, you were talking about pharmacies and stuff like that, so apparently there's another word for that, drugs. Something we've never done. We don't even know what it means, but I tell you what the effect it had. I used to have a dog, and I'm still in the dog rescuing business. If I hadn't become a musician, I probably would be an animal rescuer. But, so anyway, I was playing the US military circuit, and I had this dog, and I named him Opium. And the dog went with us in the truck onto the military Air Force bases. And she was like the band dog. Everybody knew her. She was running around doing setup. And then I put her back in the truck when we were playing. One time, Spangdahlem Air Force Base, if anybody knows what that is in Germany. After the first set, there's a military police guy with a big German shepherd standing right next to the stage. And I already know what that means. So he looks at me and says, "Whose truck is that out there?" I said, "Mine." "Why?" "Why, my dog alerted. I have to go and search your truck." It's like, "Okay, I'll be right back." So I went in the dressing room, looked at all my boys. I said, "Does anybody have anything in the truck I should know about?" And the little he got up. "No, we got it right here." It's like, okay. I'm very happy to hear this. So I grabbed the key, went with the cop towards the truck, which was like 30 yards away. Halfway to the truck, I told the cop, "There's nothing in the truck but opium." So he looks at me and says, "Open the truck at once." It's like, "Sir, opium is the name of my dog. Open the truck." I opened the door. The German shepherd jumps into I have a double cabin up front, right? The German shepherd jumps into the truck. He was male. My dog was female, and she was in heat. So the next thing you can imagine, the German shepherd is in the truck doing this business to my little female dog, and I'm looking at the MP, and I say, "Sir, take your horny dog away from mine." He apologized big time, got totally embarrassed, and he said, "He's never done that before." I wasn't quite the end of the story, but he walked away, and then I thought, this is impossible. That these highly trained German shepherds go wrong and get their priorities screwed up, right? I remembered that a week earlier, a GI had given us a nice little present in form of a whole amount of hash, so to speak. And it was laying on the front part of the truck, and somebody drove around the corner and didn't pay attention, and the chunk of hash was moving down, disappeared into the heating system.
Oh.
So anybody who knows the Mercedes truck, you cannot get a hold of the heating system until you take the whole engine out. So we thought, this is not happening, horrible. On the way home, we all thought, oh man, wouldn't it be nice to have a nice little joint right now, you know, together with the beer we had in the truck, till somebody had an idea. Hey, turn on the heater. It was a perfect drive home and 2 more days of driving in the bus. That's my little drug story.
That car sold at Barrett Jackson for $200 million. Okay. I want to ask the association about the first time your song went to #1 and what that feeling was like for you guys and what you remember about it. Did you think it would happen? Were you surprised? Who wants to talk about? Yeah.
We knew it was good. You know, if you're recording, all of these guys, I think, can tell it. You record something and it has something, you know it's good. You don't know what it's going to do, though. You can never tell. Best songs can just go down the toilet. You know, the worst songs can make #1. So we had no idea it was going to do it till we actually did hear it on the radio.
The first time we heard it, we were on our way over the hill into Santa Monica to go to a music store there. And 4 of us were in Ted Blueshell's old '59 Impala, and hardtop convertible. Yeah. And it came on the radio, and we're all hanging out the window and screaming and yelling, you know, riding on the door. Great fun.
Good stuff.
Mr. Bruce.
Joe, you had asked me about first careers.
Yeah.
Now, I got a drum set when I was 12 years old. I played saxophone in the school band, so I knew, you know, music notation and whatnot. But I was studying to be a mermaid. But by the time I got to college, I had too much tail.
He's a drummer.
Now we know where drum machines came from. No, I'm kidding.
Bob, talk to us about. You want to keep going? Go, please.
We have with us a professor of psychology at Texas State, philosophy at Texas State University, Mr. Paul Wilson.
Which has nothing to do with 60s music, but I'm looking at in the front row, and this woman has the Association Greatest Hits album. I have to tell the audience something. I was born in 1972. I'm the youngest of 7 kids, a musical family, and I was in college. I was playing in a band, and the drummer of our band, a guy named John Conley, was working for Cynthia, Jules' wife, and Jules came to our practice. I hadn't met Jules, and very gregarious and friendly guy. And the first thing I thought was, well, which one is he? Because Jules had taken a hiatus from the band from '67 to '69. But they were always one of my favorite bands. We became friends back 25 years ago, something like that. And then in recent years, Jules said, hey, when Jules got back in the band, when Dell's brother Larry became ill and unfortunately passed away recently, there came a time when they knew they might need a sub. And Jules said, hey man, what would you think about playing with the Association? And I said, duh, you obtuse man, of course. So that's how I'm here. And this is the second gig I played with the guys. They're a great group of guys. I'm thrilled and honored to be here.
Just one more thing about Paul. The reason we got Paul was when we first started hanging out, Paul knew every song, every part in every song, and could play every part in every song. So he was a pretty natural choice. I mean, this guy is no lightweight. 269. And we got one more. Come on, Jordan. Tell him who you are.
I'm a mother pheasant plucker. I pluck mother pheasants. I'm the most pleasant mother pheasant plucker that ever plucked a mother pheasant.
And he plays keyboard. And he's the son of our original bass player.
Awesome.
And he is a badass musician, too. Woo!
You know, our panel is called Now and Then, and one of the things I wanted to bring up was how you deal with today's technology. I know I see Mark on Facebook all the time. There's actually a terrific Facebook group for the Flower Power Cruise and also for the Rock and Romance Cruise. I urge you all to get involved. It's fantastic. But can you tell us, Mark, since you're the one I see most, how is it important to keep all up to date on the technology that's happened? None of this was any way to promote a record in the 60s.
You're right, and that's the point exactly. I think these days with social media, let me say first and foremost, I am a fan of this music, all of it, and always have been. So I put myself in the position like, if I wasn't a singer, if I wasn't a musician, I'm still a fan. I want to know what's going on with all my favorite groups. I want to know where they're playing. I want to know when they're playing. I want to know who's in the band. I want to know how long their sets are, the album covers. I want to know every detail, who engineered, who produced, who wrote the songs. So I think social media today, it kind of gives all of the fans an insight of where we're going, what we're doing. And the cool thing about Facebook in particular, if you don't want to know about it, well, you just don't have it in your news feed. But if you do want to know about a band, you can dial them up in seconds to find out a ton of information. I think it's a wonderful thing. And if you haven't embraced social media, give it a shot. Have your grandkids show you how it's done. It's really easy. Yeah, they'll show you. Wow. No, I didn't meant that as they know this stuff. They're like, yeah, sure, okay, sure. Give me a. And they'll flick a couple buttons, say, here you go, you're hooked up. That's how it'll work.
Awesome. Cowsills, you guys doing social media, letting people find you everywhere? Paul?
Just one quick thing, because everyone's been coming up and hey, we're not old, right? That's our attitude, okay? We're not old. Fall down. If everyone laughs at you, you're young. If they run to you and help you up, you're old. There.
I think the Cowsills kind of suck at the social media thing. No, it's so hard to, I'm a pigeon carrier kind of gal. And I'm the one who leads the tribal cry, let's be social medics. So if you don't hear from us, please just get with Mark Dawson because he will know exactly where we are, what we're wearing, what we're singing, what time we're going on, and where I get my conditioner for my hair.
Well, and also with the Facebook thing, you know, it looked like everybody was having a ball on it, and I thought, man, I got to get on this thing. And so I went through all the hard stuff to get on it, and all of a sudden, you know, there was the button. I pushed the button, and like instantly, 2,000 people were asking me to be their friend. And I love everybody, I truly do. I said, how do I get off of it? Within an hour. It took me 3 hours to get off of it.
Polly's been in some deep, deep counseling since that day. I pulled the plug. The man just went, who are these people? I said, they're all your pals, Paul. And he goes, I can't have this many pals, Susan. Get them off.
It's overwhelming.
So really, Paul, he's a one-on-one kind of guy. So he's very approachable. Just
Hey, I'll see you around the ship, but you're not going to see me on Facebook.
no, we're not. No, we're not.
But also remember, that social media thing that's going on today is amazing.
It's an amazing
and
thing.
A group comes and says, what do you do? How do you get a label? I go, you want a label? There's
Listen,
only 4 left. Good luck.
I would
But
like
the
to-
social media stuff, you can get your product out. You can hang it to the world.
I would like to share one little thing. I had a boyfriend once who had a manager who said that he owned an enterprise rental car company, and we believed him as well. Until one day the FBI came knocking at our door asking about our enterprise car guy's airplane. Did we know about it from Colombia? So I said, Colombia? Is that in the valley?
Let me reach out to the association on that topic.
Well, I'd like to say something about every band and every member and every musician here on this stage. We're old school. We're real players. You know, we are musicians. We use some modern technology, but not very much. Just enough to enhance our playing so you can hear it a little better. These are real musicians, y'all.
Yeah.